over last weekend with round 2. All I can say is I'm a little bit devastated. FC Dallas getting knocked out by those bastards in Austin the way they did. El Trafico, well, got a little bit drunk that day and made a couple of little short videos there. New York FC up against Cincinnati and... No, not New York. New York, Montreal, and Philly against Cincy. See, I'm fucking... I haven't even had a drink yet, and I'm getting shit wrong.
Mate, were you drunk for that one as well?
I was starting to.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's kick it off with the Philly-Cincinnati game. I think that went as per advertised. Cincinnati losing to Philadelphia there.
Good result just to make the playoffs, I think, for Cincy, considering the last couple of seasons they've had, down the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah,
we both predicted it.
Yeah, look, it's something that you really could not have gotten there and said any other way. Like anything else would have been a surprise, and actually would have been a good surprise. But what let them down was that first goal. That goal there where one of your backs really just did not even bother trying. He just didn't stick a leg out, nothing. And that's where they got that one.
Once you go behind against Philly as well, it's hard to get back in the game. They're one of those teams where they see it out. They see the 1-0 result, and they've got the best defender probably this season. I think he won defender of the season. The Norwegian,
he did, actually.
Glesnes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
good defensive back line.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're having a good defensive back line in a season that they had, like, geez, hard to stop them. All right,
yeah.
The next game that was up that day was El Trafico, LAFC, LA Galaxy. Fucking hell. Now that was a game to watch. Backwards and forwards, fucking cards flying everywhere. Was it what you expected in a derby match there, mate?
Yeah, definitely, especially with that LA derby. Had everything, didn't it? It was end to end. 5 goals in total, last-minute goal. It was a cracker of a game. The only thing which came close to being as entertaining as that was you getting on the Foster's tinnies and going live on Facebook, mate.
Oh, well, I don't drink Foster's. I drink James Bay, thank you. I have self-respect. That's just like me saying to you're drinking bloody Budweiser. But,
yeah.
3-2 result there. Again, no Bale. He's in hiding.
Injured, I think. Injured playing golf again.
Yep. Look, again, LAFC, Barunga, 23rd minute, again in the 80th. So he got his double. And
Christian Rengo in the 93rd.
Yeah, that one I was thinking, shit, this is not going in. And then let's just pop in. Thanks very much for playing.
Great game.
Look,
a couple of little pushy shoves in the opening minutes as well. Made that game entertaining. I think it was Ricky Teague went down for a dive, and then they get on his face. Love that.
Yeah. Oh, look. To me, the ref could have let it go a little bit. I think it was a little bit too card happy. Like with that particular ref, it just seemed like he wanted to be the centre of attention. Oh yeah, that's right. That's all referees. But look, when you look at the stats on that game there, LA had fuck all possession. Like LA Galaxy had 60% of the possession. LAFC only had 39. They had more shots on goal than LA Galaxy. Look, honestly,
Yeah.
it's amazing how a home ground advantage can lift your team in one way or another.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if you take a
It makes
if
a
you go
huge
back to
difference in MLS.
oh yeah, you especially take a look at 32-52 when it was 2-2, they were devastated. Then 93rd minute, you should have heard them. They weren't going off their tits like there was no tomorrow. Like I would have been, but again,
It's going to play a huge impact. It's going to play a massive impact. The home field advantage in this next one when LAFC play Austin this weekend, because you see in Austin at the Q2 Stadium, that's where they just when they score, the whole place like goes green. The floodlights turn into a green stadium. It's absolutely incredible, like the atmosphere there. But I think Austin FC away from Austin this weekend is going to be a different result when they go to LA.
It's going to be a tough
California Stadium.
It's going to be a tough one for them. Like, I think they might should fly in 2 days before.
If LA win as well, LAFC have got that incentive. They win this, then they've got a home final against whoever wins that Philadelphia versus New York FC game, I'm pretty sure as well. As first seeds.
Right. Okay. So, all right.
Imagine
that. Yeah, like home ground advantage for your final game, but that will bring on added pressure too. The home final always, for me, is if you're the hometown team, you've got that added pressure of shit. We have to win. If we do not win, guess what? We're done.
Yeah, it's massive. I think if they can win the West Conference final this year, I was looking back through a couple of seasons, 2 seasons now, 2019, they were in the exact same position. LAFC, they lost back in 2019, the West Conference final to Seattle. So that was the last time they got to this stage. And they came out short. So I think they had a home field advantage back then against Seattle as well. So it could be a repeat.
Oh, look, I'm going to go the other way just because I hate Austin.
You're going to go LAFC?
I'm going to go LAFC in this one, just for the simple fact is the way that they came back against the Galaxy.
I'm going them as well, 100%. I'm going LAFC. I don't see Austin getting a win in this one away from home. I think Austin FC are a totally different team when they play at home to away. I think momentum, they won't get as much momentum. They won't be able to push up as much. Although in saying that game against Dallas FC last week, and Austin FC absolutely dominated them. Dallas had nothing until probably the last 20 minutes of the game. For 70 minutes, they were just in the goal box, scrambling to get the ball out to halfway.
Yep, I definitely will agree with that one. But before we talk about that shit fight of a game, New York City FC, so the Sheikh Abubu 11 against the Montreal Football Club there. To me, Montreal there for a good portion of the first half was quite unlucky.
Yeah, I didn't see too much of that game, to be honest. It was mostly because of the time difference for me. It was a little bit earlier in the morning, but New York FC, again, they've had that experience in playoffs, winning last year. They've got good momentum coming into this, and they've lost a couple of players as well from last year's successful side.
Yeah, exactly. Like New York with their goals, Morales scoring in the 6th minute. Then you had Arroyo dos Santos just on the stroke of half time there, and then Backley Martins on a penalty kick. Like 3 different goal scorers in that one. The lone goal for Montreal was Mihalovic.
Yeah, he's good forward.
Yeah, look, I do rate him, but again, that first half, 10-15 minute portion of the first half where they were just firing, like Montreal were just firing on goal. How did not one go in? Like, I just was watching.
Yeah.
I didn't get up because it was a 4 a.m. here, and I don't get up 4 a.m. for nothing. Now, look, again, I was just watching the highlights, and from what I could see from those highlights, New York City FC just getting in there and tearing them a new one.
Another stat, Paddy, because we like Pat and we like our stats, is it's the
sure
exact
do.
same rematch in the Eastern Conference from last year. Exact same rematch, Philly versus New York FC.
Oh, it's
Exact
going to
same.
be
You know, last year though, because it was such a shit show, the world was in such a upside down bloody
inside out. Let's all wear face
way.
masks.
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. People had face masks on playing. Bloody Philadelphia last year, you may remember they had 11 players which were actually out on COVID protocol. So imagine going into an Eastern Conference final having 11 players which would say she can't play. You basically put it in a reserve or an under 20 side.
Yeah, you put your under 23. You put your under 23s in, going, well, we've made it this far. Can we do it? Can we do it? But no.
So they'll be out to get some revenge, Philly. They'll be out to get some revenge because now it's 11 on 11. You know, it's proper full strength sides. I think in New York, hearing from them in the last couple of days, I think they've got Talis Magno and Morales. They've both got huge injury concerns. So that will give Philly, a bit of an advantage. You'd have to think in that one.
Well, look. The distance between Philly and New York, I'm expecting a lot of Philly fans to go out to that game. So look, it's just a shame that we can't get you can't get the lineups days out beforehand. But again, as you said, it's a rematch from last year. Last year, Philadelphia got screwed as far as COVID protocols were concerned. When you're putting in under 23s and below to make up the numbers, I think it is going to be a totally different game this time around. Excuse me. Especially when Philadelphia's backline there as well. Again, very
strong backline.
Very strong backline. But they're going to have to
with the best goalkeeper probably in MLS as well.
Yes, very much.
Andre Blake, probably the best goalkeeper. I think he got goalkeeper of the year this year, but he's an absolute freak. He pulls off some cracking saves. So even when you do get past the Philly backline, you've got Andre Blake to get it past.
You've still got problems no matter what. But the way to. For me, the way to beat New York City is to score and score early. I think.
Yeah.
Get them on that back foot.
And hold that win.
Well, I wouldn't say hold the win, but I wouldn't say to be reckless either. Like, if you can get that first goal in the first 10, 15 minutes, I think, against New York, it puts New York at a bit of a disadvantage. Because I'm not too sure how many games that New York have come back from.
Who you got in this one? You got Philadelphia or New York?
I'm taking Philly. I'm taking Philly just because I hate New York as a city.
I'm going for Philly as well. I'm going for a 1-0 win. See out the result. Quick 15-minute goal, just like what they did last week against Cincy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go the most dangerous scoreline in football, 2-0 to Philly. Look, again, I just think Philadelphia are going to be too strong. And again, I've got a point to prove outside of last year.
Yep, 100%. All
right. So if you guys were looking to watch that game either in the US or here in Australia, in the US, that will be on Fox Sports 1. Out here in Australia, I don't think we will have it, but if it is, it's probably going to be on beIN Sport. The other game, LAFC versus Austin. That's a 6 a.m. Sydney time game. So I don't know what time it should be. What afternoon game your time?
Yeah.
So it would be the first game of the day. That'll be on ABC in America, TSN in Canada. For all you people wanting to watch it in Spanish, you will need to jump onto ESPN3 for that game. Here in Australia, that one, I believe is going. I believe both of them are going to be on beIN Sport as per usual. But yeah, look, LAFC versus Austin. Honestly, Austin has a chance. For lack of a better term, I'll say that they have a puncher's chance against them, and anything can happen. Especially with DJ Ditche. Scored a quick early opener last week against my team, which I'm still crying about. So yeah, if you're in Australia, the LAFC Austin game is going to be shown on KO at 7:00 in the morning our time. Yeah, nothing as far as the Philadelphia game's concerned.
Not a fan of the East Coast final.
Nah.
What about the West Coast?
Oh well, that's KO for you on Foxtel here in Australia, as you're well aware, Michael. They don't like to update things too often. It's usually you got to wait to the end of the week for anything like that to happen. But yeah,
who's you tipping that one?
If you can't get it in Austin, LAFC, I'll take LAFC for 2-1.
2-1. Yeah,
2-1.
I'm going to go LAFC with a 1-0 win. I think that could be a close prediction, or it could be an absolute blowout, because Austin FC are full of goals, but I don't think them being away in LA is going to do them any favours. The kind of interesting thing about that one, both times they've played LAFC this year, they've won both times in the regular season from Austin FC. So that's kind of interesting. But I think Gareth Bale might be coming back into the starting lineup if he hasn't got his injury from playing golf.
Yeah.
I think you put him in the mix and you put Carlos Vela in there.
Yeah.
I think they'll have too much power.
Yeah, they may do, but again, Austin, if Austin score early, I think it's going to be another It might be another El Trafico game where it's just going to be backwards and forwards.
It will definitely be a backwards forwards game. It just depends if that ball goes in the back of the net early on. Because if it does, you're looking at a huge blowout scoreline. You know, both teams are going to be like going up by a goal, then back to evens, and then Sebastian Druisi as well from Austin. He had a cracker game last week against your team. Having him in the middle, having him in the middle, then having Arruti and Fagundes on the side of him. They're a pretty good attacking team. I think the defense is going to be tested though this game.
Exactly. So, look, I honestly think that LAFC may be a little bit too strong for them, especially being at home at the back of California Stadium. Again, if you are in Australia, that is a 6 a.m. telecast. Excuse me. If KO does not have it, you can try and use your Slingbox or Google TV. Usually we can get American channels here through Toady and using a VPN. I don't want to get you guys in trouble, so don't do that. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But yeah,
jeez, they make it hard to make it hard to watch the MLS over there, Pat.
They do, mate. They do. It's like we get usually one, maybe 2 games a week. We don't even get any of the Champions League at all. So it's like over here we've got I think it's now Optus Sports, Stan, Paramount, like if you want, and KO if you want to watch football of any sort of description. But yeah, LAFC Austin again. I think that one's gonna be the game of the round for me.
Yeah,
that one's gonna be the game of the round.
Agree.
Followed very, very closely by that Philly. Honestly, both games got both games can be crackers, or they could be both duds. Like,
yeah,
to me,
I think that
the dud
LA...
the dud game last week for me was not just because they lost. Is the Austin Dallas game too, just quietly.
Dallas were horrific. They dead set didn't have any will to play. You wouldn't have thought that they were looking to get into a conference final. They were just so shit. They didn't even come out trying to attack at all till the last 20 minutes of the game.
No.
It easily could have been 4-5-0, like at half time for Austin.
Oh, 100%. Like, and this is why I didn't pick Ferreira. At the moment, he's thinking, all right, I've won Young Player of the Year. I'm going off to the World Cup. This doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, he definitely played that way.
Any sort of silverware for any player, whether it be a World Cup, or your local Twiddlywinks fucking contest, any sort of competitor wants to win. This guy he didn't show up.
No. Their defence was a shambles as well. Just absolute shambles Dallas were in that game. That was just so bad. Absolutely no desire or, will to want to get stuck into challenges and making silly tackles in the wrong areas. It just was an absolute bombardment in the last 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes of that game was just all Austin. Chance after chance.
Yeah. But, so we've gone from the worst game. The best game, I think both of us would agree on, would have to be that El Trafico game. Followed by, I would say, the Philadelphia-Cincinnati game. And then the blowout, the 3-1 blowout. That's how I would rank those games personally myself from last weekend. This weekend, look, that LAFC game, I think is going to be a bit of a cracker. Like, it's you got two of the new boys, quote unquote new boys, on the MLS scene, like Austin and LAFC. Both of their supporter bases travel and do travel well, especially when it came down to the pointy end of the season. Look, I'm hoping we're going to get two full-strength sides. I just don't want to have one team with a shit squad and the other one having a full-strength squad. I want two full-strength squads ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a Philly from last year, but I think, it shows how well prepared Austin and LAFC have taken their expansion license into the MLS. Three years into the league. I think Austin second year in the league. I think now
second year in the league.
That's good effort. Second year in the league to make conference final. It kind of shows that when these expansion franchises do come into the league, they're really well prepared. They have purpose soccer stadiums built. They have the right, funds to bring in the good players, international level, but also domestic young players coming into the ranks as well.
Like we were saying last week, compared to what we've got down here in Australia, any club, not just the top echelon of the clubs, can actually afford to get there and sort of go and get a Puig or Beckham or someone like that.
Exactly.
Like, not just
it's a complete opposite of Australia. complete opposite of Australia. I mean, you saw Houston Dynamo do it this year. You know, they're coming last for a couple of seasons now, or at least down the bottom, and they barely win any games, and they're able to bring in Herrera, a Mexican international, the captain of Mexico, into their team from Atletico Madrid. So it shows that how fast the MLS is growing and the caliber of player that this league can attract.
Well, the one thing I think I've noticed, especially the difference between the Australian A-League and the MLS, is you don't have... Okay, in the States, yes, they will have their European teams like we do here that we all go for, but they are more enshrined into their local community as well. So if you're from Houston and you're a soccer fan, you're Houston Dynamo, you're FC Dallas, you are Montreal, or wherever your local team is who you are, unlike here in Australia where it's, okay, look, I'm from Sydney, but I'm going to go for the Newcastle fucking Jets.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I mean, I'm born in Sydney, and it's a good example. I'm born in Sydney, and I don't support any of the three Sydney sides. I never have. And Sydney FCs are like the closest team to me, but I go for Mariners. And we were shit for a very long amount of time. Just sheer luck that I like soccer, because if I didn't, Mariners in the last 6 years would have turned me off the sport completely.
Well, just to give you a heads up, you got Vukovic back anyway in goal, so you should be happy about that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, I'm happy about that.
But yeah, like, it's like me with MacArthur. Like, I was a Sydney FC fan because of geographically where I live. But again, I moved out of that area and I moved down to the MacArthur region, and it's okay. I got a team 5 minutes down the street from me.
Yeah.
And
but you've taken the right approach. You know, you've gone and taken what the approach should be, where you go and support your local team no matter what. You know, that's just the way it should be, because that's a European way of thinking. You know, people which are, living in Seville in Spain aren't going to be going for
Barcelona.
They're going to be strict. They're going to strictly be following their team and going to the games and supporting that local club. And that's some of that MLS. You're right. You know, the city, the atmosphere, it's well marketed within that city, and that's something that the A-League has no marketing, revenue to be able to put back into the game. So it's good to see, MLS. That's why you see flares going off of the games. You see full packed stadiums because the marketing is there.
Well, they're not actually quote unquote flares. They're just a smoke bomb that is going off.
Yeah, smoke thing.
And look, the one thing the MLS has done really, really well compared to the A-League is those safe standing spots in either end of the grounds. If you want to
100%.
let the smoke bomb off, there's a spot to do it.
Yep, that's right. I think if you're in the A-League, you stand up, you're kicked out of the stadium. But that's you're right.
Oh, sorry, that was 2 years ago. I can assure you, because I got kicked out for standing up and doing these ones at the MacArthur game. Show up the next week and they're going, aren't you banned for 3 weeks? No.
Mate, they've taken the European model, MLS, and they're really starting to build that into soccer over here, because they know 100%. That to grow the sport on a global level, you need to take that philosophy, and they've done that well. Those standing spaces are fantastic.
And the thing that the Americans do really, really well is they will take something from overseas that's really, really good, and they'll jack it up on steroids.
Yeah.
Like, they realised that each club needed their own stadiums. This was after the first 10 years of the MLS. It was like from 96, I think it was 96 through to 2006. It took them mainly 10 years to realise, okay, let's have each team that comes in now with has to have a brand new stadium, has to have that deal in place, at least.
they vet the clubs very well here, and every club's got a different identity. You know, you'll see in Portland, for instance, they take the best of that Pacific Northwest region. They build that into the sport ideology. Like, you know, there's the lumberjack guy, which comes and like cuts the
Timber Jim
cuts like
up the
the tree up.
Yeah, and you got Timber Jim up the pole there every time they score a goal.
Yeah, it's good atmosphere. You know, it gives them an identity, which something that the A-League doesn't have. Every club's the same. So, not getting too much into the comparison between the leagues, but it is interesting to see the differences between two leagues which are essentially in a development phase, and MLS is just in the last 5-6 years has just absolutely overtaken their expansion kind of mentality.
Out of the quote unquote sort of younger leagues around the world, again, the MLS has done it right. They've done it right with the expansion into different parts of America because, again, no two parts of the US, I'm saying this mostly for anyone that's not been to the States at all from Australia. Like, a lot of us just go New York or LA, but if there's more to the US than sort of meets the eye in each sort of region.
Yep.
And again, being able to harness your particular state, so like Portland, Seattle, like that Pacific Northwest, you go to New England, you go down the south, you're going to get a different experience every single town that you go to.
Yep, 100%.
All right, so week 3 is almost upon us. We're about 72 hours out from it and counting. All right, so final word, Michael. What are we looking at? First game, LAFC Atlanta.
LAFC Boston.
Atlanta. I always say Atlanta. Got Atlanta on the mind. It's football. It's NFL. And NFL's on today too.
Mate, Atlanta, they will nowhere near play us. But I've got LAFC to go through against Austin, just purely down to that home field advantage. And then I've got Philly to get through against New York FC. I think if New York FC does get the better of Philly, though, I think New York FC will take it all the way again, back-to-back champions. But I really think that Philly will win that and have a final against LAFC next week. And then from that game there, I think probably LAFC will be too strong for Philly if they have that home field advantage again.
Yeah, I'm going to sort of go the same way. Like, LAFC will beat Austin. Philadelphia will scrape through against New York. Because both Philadelphia and LAFC, what happens in that instance? Both number 1 ranked teams.
I don't know, but I've heard that. I've heard LAFC, for some reason, get to have that game at home. I don't know why, but it must be some.
It might be the swap just between East and West for that particular year. But hey, that would work well in our favour. West Coast games are always great. But again, I think, LAFC over Austin, Philadelphia over New York. The 2-1 scoreline in the first game, and I'll take a 1-0 to Philadelphia in the second. And it will be a late winner, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so another 30 minutes of your time wasted there, fellas. Now, again, we probably will be back again with a shortened version of this leading up into the final, which will be on the 6th of November, Sydney time at 7 a.m. Look, LAFC, Austin, they're followed up by Philadelphia, New York this week. 2 great games, 4 great teams. Let's see who gets it done.
Absolutely, mate. We'll be back next week to see who's in the final and have a bit of a yarder about that.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. We will definitely be back because Michael runs it, not me.
Yes.
So we'll have a good weekend, and hope your teams get up.
Catch you guys.